Welcome back, Glory Babes. I'm sorry, this is a voiceover. I'm Sage if this is your first time here. I just didn't like my intro, but yeah, I really like this look. Let me know what you think. The inspiration for this look is a TikToker. Her name will be in the description box. I just got the green colors from her, and then, you know, like, her look inspired this look. So if you guys want to check her out, I don't know if she does makeup, but anyways, I just know I saw her on my For You page doing makeup in a reel. So yes, please remember to like and subscribe, comment below. I might say this in my own little way, not to take away from the Bible or anything like that, but we're just going over a lot of rules, and I just want to get through it faster than actually reading it. So yes, I love you guys. Remember to like and subscribe, share, all the things. Let's get this community bigger. We're still not at 100 yet. We need like 5 more people. We can do this. We can totally do this. Okay, let's pray, y'all. Heavenly Lord, we ask that you sit with us today, that you come into this space and you open up our hearts and our minds, and that we can hear from you. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. All right, y'all, so we are on Exodus 22, verse 1 at the very top. And the last one was kind of heavy. We were talking about a lot of slavery. I had a lot of questions and a lot of thoughts, I should say. But we are going to move on from there. And like I said, we are on Exodus 22, verse 1. I read from the NLT version. And so this chapter name is protection of property. So if you steal an ox or a sheep, and then you sell it or you kill it, then you have to pay the owner back 5 ox or 4 sheep per ox and sheep stolen. So if you stole 2 ox, you got to pay him 10 ox back. Okay, is basically what that says. If a thief is caught in the act of breaking into somebody's house and then they're struck and killed, it's cool. You're not going to be committed of murder. It's the middle of the night. However, if it happens in the daylight, then you are guilty of murder. I guess because you didn't scream for help. It doesn't say that, but that's just what I'm guessing. A thief must pay in full everything that he stole. If he can't pay, then he has to be sold as a slave until he can pay his debt. So, might not want to steal anything. If someone steals an ox or a donkey or a sheep and it is found in the thief's possession, then the thief must pay double the value of the stolen item, which I feel like we already said that when we went over that in the beginning. Okay? I don't know why. See, this is what I'm talking about. Just be repeating itself. Okay? We are on verse 5. If an animal is grazing in a field or vineyard and then its owner lets it stray into someone else's field and graze their property, then the animal's owner has to pay like compensation for whatever the animal has eaten with its own like grain or grapes. If you're deciding to burn your field, because, you know, that's the thing sometimes. If you're deciding to burn your field and you let the fire get out of hand and it goes into the neighbor's field and ruins any of their crop in any way, shape, or form, you got to pay for it. If someone leaves money or goods with their neighbor and the property is stolen while the neighbor is gone, and the thief is caught, then the compensation is double what was stolen. However, if the thief is not caught, then your neighbor has to be put in front of God or judges, it says, and they will determine, like God will determine if your neighbor stole the property or not. If 2 people are going to bat about whose ox, clothing, something, they're both saying, no, this is mine. Those 2 people have to go before God, and God will determine whose item it really is. And the liar, basically, will have to pay double the amount of the item. All right, this next one is a doozy. But isn't it kind of cool? Like, because a lot of these are like, you got to be in the presence of the Lord and stuff. And it's great to have God, like, really just be there, being the judge and answering all of our questions the way he did back then. I think that's cool. Okay, we're on verse 10. So suppose you leave like a donkey, an ox, a sheep, something like that, any kind of animal with your neighbor for safekeeping, but it dies or someone is like it's injured, someone takes it, something like that. while it's in the neighbor's custody, the neighbor must take an oath in the presence of the Lord. This is why I was saying that, because I was like, it's kind of cool, you know. And if the Lord confirms that the neighbor did not steal the property, then the owner must accept the verdict. Like, sorry, it just is what it is. But if the animal was like indeed stolen, then whoever is guilty of stealing it has to pay compensation to the owner. If it was torn in pieces by a wild animal, then the remains of the carcass must be shown as evidence and no compensation is required. So a lot of it is just like, look, only if it's stolen, because it'll be really hard to prove it any other way. Okay, and so now we're on verse 14, and it's saying if someone borrows an animal from a neighbor or it is injured or dies, when the owner is absent, the person who borrowed it must pay full compensation. Okay, so this is better, because I was like, which makes sense, because if they're just asking you to like lend, like, can you just watch this for me, and something happens, just like whatever. But if they specifically ask you to borrow it, then they should be keeping better track of it. However, if this happens and the owner happens to be present, then there's no compensation required, because it's like, dude, you were right there. You could have stopped it, you know, like, and then it says, if something happens, if an ox or something is rented and something happens to the animal, then there's no fee required, since it is covered by the rental fee. So there's no loss required for that. You just keep the rental fee, I guess. It's so crazy to see, like, this is the first like judicial system being put out there and stuff like that. We have so many rules now, but it's just so crazy to actually sit there and read them like this. So we should actually do that in school. They should make it a law to teach us that in school, our rights. And okay. So if a man seduces a virgin who is not engaged to anyone and has sex with her, he must pay the customary bride price and marry her. But if her father refuses, then he just has to pay the customary bride price of a virgin. Still do that in some places. Like, there is a price still to be paid for the daughter in some places. And so we're on verse 18. You must not allow a sorceress to live. Anyone who has sexual relations with an animal must certainly be put to death. Anyone who sacrifices to any god other than the Lord must be destroyed. You must not mistreat or oppress foreigners in any way. Remember, you yourselves were once foreigners in the land of Egypt. You must not exploit a widow or an orphan. If you exploit them in any way and they cry out to me, then I will certainly hear their cry. My anger will blaze against you, and I will kill you with the sword. Then your wives will be widows and your children fatherless. He ain't playing about that. Which I just feel like God does not play about kids. So the fact that there's even a conversation right now going around with, you know what, becoming a sexual orientation, it's like, are you even serious? Like, Jesus need to hurry up and come back, because I can't live in a world where that is going to be okay. I just can't. And they are now working on the lawn, so I apologize in advance if it's distracting in the background. All right, verse 25. If you lend money to any of my people who are in need, do not charge interest like the other people do, like the lenders would. If they give you their cloak for security, make sure you give it back at nighttime, because it might be the only thing to keep them warm. And if you do not, and they cry out to me, I will hear about it, for I am a merciful God. So that's kind of cool. So I don't know if you would just get it back every day or whatever, and they sleep with it at night. I'm really not sure, but I guess it depends on how long it takes them to pay back that debt, or how much the debt is. I don't know, it's not too clear on what happens after that. So you must not dishonor God or curse any of your rulers. You must not hold anything back when you give me offerings from your crops and your wine. You must not give me your firstborn sons. Oh, you must give me your firstborn sons. I was like, wait, hold up. You must also give me the firstborn of your cattle, sheep, and goats. Leave the newborn animal with its mother for 7 days, then give it to me on the 8th day. You must be my holy people. Therefore, do not eat any animal that has been torn up and killed by wild animals. Throw it to the dogs. All right, you guys, we are on Exodus 23, a call for justice, verse 1. You must not pass along false rumors. You must not cooperate with evil people by lying on the witness stand. You must not follow the crowd in doing wrong. When you are called to testify in a dispute, do not be swayed by the crowd to twist justice, and do not slant your testimony in favor of a person just because that person is poor. You come upon your enemy's ox. If you come upon your enemy's ox or donkey that has strayed away, take it back to its owner. If you see that the donkey of someone who hates you has collapsed under its load, do not walk by. Instead, stop and help. In a lawsuit, you must not deny justice to the poor. Be sure never to charge anyone falsely with evil. Never sentence an innocent or blameless person to death, for I never declare a guilty person to be innocent. I'm telling y'all, sometimes it just be making me so mad. I think it's like the mix between like quote unquote like woke and consciousness and growing up in a church that was like closed-mindedness. You know, it's just like this weird thing, and I don't know, like I kind of feel bad for questioning stuff, but it's like, how else will you get the answers? You know, like I know God is not afraid of me questioning anything. He will lead me where I need to go, but that's just where I'm at right now. Because okay, verse 8, take no bribes, for a bribe makes you ignore something that you clearly see. A bribe makes even a righteous person twist the truth. You must not oppress foreigners. You know what it's like to be a foreigner. You yourselves were once foreigners in the land of Egypt. Plant and harvest your crops for 6 years, but let the land be renewed and lie uncultivated during the 7th year. Let the poor among you harvest whatever grows on its own. Leave the rest for wild animals to eat. The same applies to your vineyards and olive groves. You have 6 days each week for your ordinary work, but on the 7th day you must stop working. This gives your ox and donkey a chance to rest. It also allows your slaves and the foreigners living among you to be refreshed. Pay close attention to all instructions. You must not call on the name of any other gods. Do not even speak their names. I'm not playing with y'all, okay? Verse 14, 3 annual festivals. Each year you must celebrate 3 festivals in my honor. First, celebrate the festival of unleavened bread. For 7 days, the bread you eat must be made without yeast, just as I commanded you. This is from the Passover, okay? This unleavened bread. I know, because I remember reading that, okay? Celebrate this festival annually at the appointed time in early spring in the month of Abib. That means it's Hebrew appointed time in the month of Abib. This first month of the ancient Hebrew lunar calendar usually occurs within the months of March and April. Okay, and so it says, let's go back. Celebrate this festival annually at the appointed time in the early spring in the month of Abib. For that is, and I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, for that is the anniversary of your departure from Egypt. No one may appear before me without an offering. Second, celebrate the festival of harvest when you bring me the first crops of your harvest. Finally, celebrate the festival of the final harvest. At the end of the harvest season, when you have harvested all the crops from the field. So basically at the end of the season, when you're done getting all your crops, it's basically 3 times a year. It says every man in Israel must appear before the sovereign, the Lord. You must not offer the blood of my sacrificial offerings together with any baked goods containing yeast. And do not leave the fat from the festival offering until the next morning. As you harvest your crops, bring the very best of the first harvest to the house of the Lord your God. You must not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. I just think that's a weird way to end it. You know, you're saying all that, and then it's just, you must not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. I feel like that should have went before the last part, but whatever. Okay, we are on verse 20, a promise of the Lord's presence. See, I am sending an angel before you to protect you on your journey and lead you safely to the place I have prepared for you. Pay close attention to him and obey his instructions. Do not rebel against him, for he is my representative, and I will not forgive your rebellion. But if you are careful to obey him, following all my instructions, then I will be an enemy to your enemies, and I will oppose those who oppose you. For my angel will go before you and bring you into the land of the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites. You guys know. If you know, you know. So you may live there, and I will destroy them completely. You must not worship the gods of these nations or serve them in any way or imitate their evil practices. Instead, you must utterly destroy them and smash their sacred pillars. You must serve only the Lord your God. If you do, I will bless you with food and water, and I will protect you from illnesses. From illness. Dang, I was doing so good. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I did not realize we're almost done. We're almost done. I'm gonna try to finish this, but I ran out of space, so I'm gonna have to make this work some kind of way. Okay, verse 26. 25 was, I'll protect you from illness. Okay, verse 26. There will be no miscarriages or infertility in your land, and I will give you long, full lives. I will send my terror ahead of you and create panic among all the people whose lands you invade. I will make all your enemies turn and run. I will send terror ahead of you to drive out the Hivites, Canaanites, and Hittites. But I will not drive them out in a single year, because the land would become desolate and the wild animals would multiply and threaten you. I will drive them out a little at a time until your population has increased enough to take possession of the land, and I will fix your boundaries from the Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea. And from the eastern wilderness to the Euphrates River. That's such a pretty name, Euphrates. I love that. I will hand over to you the people now living in the land, and you will drive them out ahead of you. Make no treaties with them or their gods. They must not live in your land, or they will cause you to sin against me. If you serve their gods, you will be caught in the trap of idolatry. Okay, you guys, that is the end of Exodus 23 in the NLT version. So we are going to come back in the next one, Exodus 24, at the very top, verse 1. So yes, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this story. I hope you enjoyed this look. Please remember to like and subscribe so we can, grow this community. And yeah, I mean, I'm reading the entire Bible. So it's like, I think that's pretty cool. If you are interested in reading the whole Bible. I've never done it, so it's just like a big accomplishment for me. I'm actually, I should be studying these book names, but I am in Numbers now. I just finished Leviticus, and I'm in Numbers. I had to read some of it over because that is a hard book. It is so... We'll get there. This is already long enough, y'all. I'm rambling. But I love you guys so much, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Bye.